Alright, so what we have here is this is a JCPenney combined stereo with a phonograph on top. Speakers are down below. I'll show you in just a second. I'm going to say this is from probably around 1970, plus or minus a couple of years. This is actually was from my family, and it was put up in my parents' attic decades ago, and my brother decided to pull it down and see if I could fix it, and he's going to take it off. Once again, you'll see blue tape like in the Panasonic. So underneath here is my father's Social Security number engraved with an etcher, just like we had on the Panasonic. So as I said before, it was common. We were all doing it in those times. This is the turntable that came on top. The lid does not hinge back; it just comes off. It's a BSR unit, and the turntable works. We'll check out the cartridge and everything else about it in just a minute. I'll take you out of the stand here. Hang on, and you can be handheld for just a few minutes. Down below, the two speakers that came with it. I guess they're two-way. You probably have a bass and a woofer. Sorry, what am I trying to say? A woofer and a tweeter. The tweeter being the part behind the silvery-looking sides on it. And we walk around the back of this. And yes, Dymo label maker that had my dad's name and phone number on it. And back a unit, it's a model 1758. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of humid out. It looks pretty foggy on the lens. But anyway, so let's take a look and see how this thing does. Hang on. All right, I think we all know what to expect. Let's just see what we get. So you bet, we got lots of static on the control. You're getting some noise there. So we turn off automatic frequency control. Let's go to FM. Looks like it has an internal dipole antenna for FM. Try stereo.
Para ustedes, buenas noches cuando nos tengamos. You net?
Oh yeah, it's time to mix it up and get.
It's got to be one of the best rodeo songs of all time right there. Dan Seals, Everything That Glitters Is Not Gold, right here on Houston's only home for the country legends. I'm Jake Stewart, your weather.
Just hoping they'll let me watch
the compensation.
So let's clean up that volume control. We'll see if we can clean up the rest of these pots and see what that does to the performance. It may come in better on some other things as well. And once we open this up, we'll take a look to see what's going on inside. So hang on, and I'm going to start taking it apart. Okay, let's see about taking this cabinet off. Speaker leads. Unplug the unit. Let's see. We got screws underneath each of the feet, and there's two in the middle. I'm not sure what those are yet, so let me get the back off and we'll see what that shows us. This screw is loose. Alright. So it looks like I need to undo these two bottom screws to release the chassis. Maybe the feet. We'll see. Wooden bottom. There's a series of screws here that are kind of red in color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and there's a bracket that holds, that's what's holding this in. Now I'll need to take the knobs off, and then it should slide out. So you see that okay? Yeah. We're actually also looking at the drive mechanism of the 8-track right here. The belt actually feels okay. It hasn't melted or gone wonky on us, so that's a surprise. Alright, let's get these chassis mount screws out. Right. Take the knobs off. I don't see any set screws on them, so they just pull straight off. They're all the same. And then this, he pulls off too. Alright. Let's see if we're going to be lucky here. So it wants to pull out the front. So let me get something to set that on. All right. Okay, well I got that loose by cutting a couple of wire ties loose here and here so that this had some looseness, and I was able to pull this back and get this turned around. Okay, so this is obviously the on-off switch, so this is the volume control with the on-off on it. And looking at the face, and that makes this one the balance, bass, and treble. So let's just get some cleaner in here, clean these up, and see if that doesn't help out quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to use some control cleaner here. Best place to get these is where the wires go in, if you can find it. And it looks like that's going to be most inconvenient place, right next to the circuit board. So we'll just go in through here. We'll just do all of them. So that's the balance control. It didn't really seem to have a problem. And so here we'll have on, off, and then I guess left volume and right volume. On, off was fine. And we'll do this a whole bunch of times. I'll cut this off so you don't have to watch it. Okay, so we did the spraying and the going back and forth a whole bunch of times. I've got it laid back in here and put some towels underneath it to isolate or insulate it in case it tries to touch the chassis. I'm going to turn it on and see if it still has a bunch of noisiness. If so, I'll continue to work it and see if that doesn't clear it up. So that looks like that cleaned up the noise on the volume control.
I wonder why.
Win $2,500 cash. Special promotion from the Houston
That's
Texans.
AM.
Special promotion from the Houston Texans and exclusive event invitations from Amegy Bank. Find out more at HoustonTexans.com/businessboost.
Not too big. Right. Okay. Wasn't sure about that, but now I think I know. I think I understand.
Alright, so I'll put this back together again. So this is kind of an example of something that, it could work okay, and it has some noisy switches, and you can just kind of clean them up and spray the contact cleaner. Actually, you should be using control cleaner, so it has a little bit of lubricant in it, and which is what I used. And then just spray that in there and work it back and forth a whole bunch of times, and maybe clear it, blast it another time or two to blast the junk out of there, and work it back and forth, let it drain, and then see if the thing doesn't work. Now, whether or not, we want to go to the trouble of trying to get the 8-track checked. I don't know if anybody's got the tapes anymore anyway. The record player probably needs a new cartridge. It's probably, whether you want to spend the money to buy another cartridge to put it in there, I don't know, because are you really going to play anything on it? But otherwise, you can pick up AM and FM on it, and that may be what it's going to be intended for. So let me get it back together again, and we'll see how she does with another run-through. Okay, let's see how she does. So I've got the speakers plugged back in, and it's kind of light out here. I don't know if we can see the meters when they turn on. Okay, so the meters. This is for when you're recording onto a blank 8-track tape. So if you had a blank 8-track in here, you would press record, and it would record whatever the program is you're listening to. If you're listening to AM radio or FM, or maybe you want to record something that's on the record player. And so you allow you to record it onto an 8-track and listen to it in your car. You would control the volume, the level of the recording in here to get it up to where you want it to, where it didn't get into the red area. And then you listen to it at different volumes. If you didn't want to listen to it while it was recording, you just turn this off. This is the monitor switch. Or you might want to listen to it half volume, or you might want to listen to it at full volume. That's what that's for. And then this is automatic frequency control. That just allows the stronger stations to get locked in and stay on without being maneuvered off by the weaker stations. I'm kind of in a weak signal area, so I'm just going to turn the AFC off for now. Alright, let's see how she does. Meters are on. Let's see, we're in FM.
Better shit.
Bass works good. Double works good. Got both channels independent. Nice quiet volume control.
Our agents quickly understood their needs and made it simple.
Now I can't see if the stereo light is coming on. I don't know if the bulb's burned out or there's something with it not receiving the pilot signal, or maybe we're just not getting a strong enough signal for FM to be received. But I'm not sure it really matters for what we're going to use this for. So anyway.
We're made for.
For you.
I just think.
So AM works, FM works good. There's AM.
Home run for Oakland. They lead the Rangers 2-0. A's still batting in the top of the first inning. Taylor Hearn.
Okay, so now we've verified everything in here is working in terms of we got the volume control noise taken care of. I thought it'd be best to bring it inside where we can get away from all the noise outside to see how it sounds and performs. So let's give it a try and see how it does.
I don't even own a dress.
Brent, record label thought they might have been over and done with yesterday's news, and when they handed Scars in.
So I hear a lot of noise over in the right channel. And there's virtually none in the left channel. There's a lot of hiss in the right channel. It's really pronounced. It does vary with volume. There's a little bit of hiss on the left side with the volume cranked up quite loud. That's probably normal. That's unnormal. Okay, well we've got a hiss problem in the right channel that varies with volume. So let's see if the other sources work okay. Let's try phono. All right. Well, it seems to work pretty good, and I think the cartridge is strong enough. I think it'll be all right, but it's still got the hiss in the right channel. But it's not just due to the phono circuit, because it's in the radio channels and also in the 8-track. Let's see what we can get on the 8-track with this. I don't have any 8-tracks. I don't know where they are if I do, but I've got this adapter that my dad had, and so we'll try this out. And I do have a cassette I found of mine from the 70s. It's Wish You Were Here. So apart from the bad noise in the right channel, this thing seems to be working pretty well. The 8-track is working. What's interesting is not only the 8-track working, but this was working so that I could play that cassette tape. So it's pretty remarkable. So what I'm going to do is get it back on the bench, open this thing up and start looking at left versus right channels and see if I can find where the noise in the right channel is coming from, and see if we can isolate a component and see what we can do about it. Back to the bench. Okay, so now we're back on the bench with this Penny's receiver. Taking the cover off of it again, and I've hooked it up. We've got the speakers down below. You can see this is where they plug in. What I would like to do is go in and identify, when I look at the schematic, which of the boards I'm identifying is the ones that's making the noise. So for example, if you look at the schematic, and I'll pop this up on the screen in an overview, but basically it's got a few main sections. You've got your power supply section here, and then a lot of this is to do with driving the 8-track. There's some motors in here and so forth for driving the 8-track, so that's what that's for. Up here is the radio section. There's the IF stages, and then the output, and then here's where the multiplex detector is and so forth for the FM stereo. But basically it has the outputs come out here. There's some other inputs that come in, but these are the two audio stages right here, and they're identical. There's a left and a right, and the output power transistors are located here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I need to do is, I know that the noise is coming from the right channel, but I don't know whether that's this board or this board. And so what I need to do is determine which of these is the one that's making noise, and then I'll know which one of these boards is the one that has the noisy component, if you will. Okay. So let's take a look at the unit here in front of me. So those main output transistors are right here. You can see them here on this metal plate that acts like a heat sink. And these are two SB449s. So they're two SB449s, they're Matsushita. And you may or may not be able to see it. There's letters stamped here. That says 25. Let me see if I can zoom you in there. Pardon me while I zoom. You might be able to see some of that. So this one says 25. This one says 26, this one says 27, and this one says 28. So what I'm going to do is turn this around so that we can get access to the back side of those transistors, which are located here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is power the unit up, and then I'm going to go through with my signal tracer and test these pins to find out where the noisy transistors are, and then that'll tell me which of the channels is right in terms of odd and even number components. Because if you look at this right here, the left and right items, these are odd numbered and these are even numbered. So if I follow that same rationale through here, I'll be able to find out which side of these is the noisy side, and then I can focus on that. So let me get it set up with this and the signal tracer, and I'll bring you back in just a moment. Just a flash for you. Okay, so I've turned this a little bit, and I've got my signal tracer. It's ICO 147A, and so what I'm going to do is, it's warmed up. I'm going to go through and verify where all these things are. Now I need to power this thing up and switch it on, and so I'll take care of that and get it turned on, and then I'll bring you back and we'll start going through and checking and find out where the noise is coming from on these things. Okay, so I've got the unit plugged in, I've got the variac on, I'm measuring the voltage out of the variac after it goes through a dim bulb and also into an isolation power transformer. So this is the output voltage of my power supply heading into the receiver. Okay, so this is just making sure that I've got the variac set right for any kind of losses that are going on in the dim bulb. I also have a kilowatt up that is showing me the power going in case I have some power going that you can explain. Okay, so the other thing I've done is I've disconnected the volume board and pulled it out, and I've put it in a plastic bag. I'll show you that in just a minute. to keep it from getting shorted out against anything. I'm going to reach around and turn the unit on, and then we'll go in and make some measurements. Okay, you might be able to hear that noise. I'm going to turn that down. Okay. The noise is down. Okay, the signal tracer is on. And I've got it switched to trace and audio. So we're going to go in here and check these items right here. So let me find a ground for this. I'm going to turn the tracer all the way up. You can hear the hum. Alright, let's just see what we get here. This is 25. Nothing much. A little bit there. Let's go to 26. There we go. There's our noise. So I'm getting that on both the emitter and the collector of 26. Okay, let's go back up to this one. This is 27, I guess. Let me zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing. So that was this one. Then I did this one. Hum on that one. And let's see about this one up here. The emitter for 28. Okay, so 26 and 28 are the ones that are making most of the noise. It seems to be 26 mainly. Okay, so what that does is that shows us that the noisy channel is in the even number components when we look at the schematic. So if we look at the schematic closely, don't know if you can see that or not. See, these are even. Transistor 14, transistor 16, transistor 18, transistor 20. Up here, transistor 13, transistor 15, transistor 17. So these are the odd numbers. This is the left channel. This is the right channel that's making the noise, because if you come over here, there's transistor 28 and transistor 26, and transistor 26 is the one that had the most noise on it. So this is the channel that's of interest to us. Okay, so we're going to go check a few areas that are easy to get to, and then we'll see if we can start tracking in where does the noise show up in this circuit right here. Okay. Okay, so I've turned the unit around. All right, you can see the 8-track drive here real well. We know that works, and I mentioned that before. The band is actually in remarkably good shape, but we'll worry about that later. So what I've already done is I've taken the volume board loose, like I did earlier when I was cleaning these pots, and because we know that's where a lot of the components are on the volume board, and we'll take a look at that. So what I've done is I've taken it out. I mentioned it earlier. There's 3 screws to get it out. There's 2 that go here, and there's 1 that goes here, and so that one bolts up in here, and then these 2 bolt back to here, and then you can pull this board out. It's held in place by a wiring harness, which is back in here. So what I've done is I've bagged this so that I can handle this without having to worry too much about this shorting out against other components, but I've gone ahead and put yellow tape around some of the sharper metal chassis components. And then I've attached this green wire that I can connect from the chassis of this to the chassis of the radio, just in case I need it for having a ground continuity. So I've got that on there. So what I want to do now is get the signal tracer, and we can start going through this board and see if we can find where the noise is. This is a handy piece of equipment. Okay, so let me start on the controls since they're easy to get to. And another thing is that in order to make this a little bit easier, this is pretty fine. What I've done is I've made an enlargement of this so we can see it a little better. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so these are the even numbered items. Here's TR26 that was making the noise. I want to go in and check some of the controls. That's the balance control. The volume control, there's one here. VR3 and 4 is the two volume controls for the two channels. And then, so there's balance, there's volume, and the treble and bass will be in here somewhere. There's one there, there's one there. So one of those is treble and the other is bass. Okay, and we'll look at that in just a minute. But they're easy to get to because they have big pins sticking out of the bottom of the board. Let me just check them and see if it gives me any hints on noise. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this. As I test a connection that's clean, I'll put a yellow highlighter on it to remind me I've already been there and it wasn't making any noise. If I get some racket, I'll put another mark on there saying here is where noise is present. So for example, we know that we had noise on 26, right here. So I just put something here that says, yeah, we had noise there. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll work our way this way and also from these controls, and we'll see if we can find where it's coming from. Now I know it changes with volume. Okay. So it might be before the volume control, but we'll check and see what all the controls show us, and then we'll just go from there. It won't take very long. All right, let's do it. Okay, so as we look at this, this is the balance. So I can see the three posts for the balance control right here. So they're located here, here, and here. So there's the center position, and these are the two ends. So that's the wiper. Let me go through that and see if we can hear anything at the balance control. So I've got that turned up full on gain. That's silent. That's the wiper. One side, the other side. Let me turn this fan off so that's not disguising us. Okay, so let's try that again. There's the center wiper of the balance control. Silent. Those are the two poles of the balance control. I'm not getting any noise out of that I can hear. All right, let's go down to the volume control. The on-off switch is wired directly. It doesn't go through the circuit board. So we have one channel here and one channel here, the center position, and then the two ends. So let's just see what we get. Let's start with here. I don't get anything. Center position, wiper, nothing. Here, I don't hear anything. Let's go here. Nothing there. Nothing there. All right. Now that's coming from the speakers. I have the speakers plugged in, so I have a load on the amplifier. But I've got it turned all the way down. I'm not hearing anything out of the signal tracer. All right, let's go to what would this be? This is the bass control, and that is my voltmeter telling me it's powering down. Okay, so this is the bass control. There's 3 here and 3 here. Let's try this one. Nothing. Nothing. Don't hear anything there. Try this one. Nothing. Nothing. I hear it there. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me see if I can disconnect that speaker for just a moment and see if it makes it audible. I can hear it there. hear it there. Okay, so we're on the bottommost terminal of the forward potentiometer on the bass. Let's go down to the treble. That was my finger. Being a big antenna for 60 hertz hum in the shop. Okay, so this, here's 6 terminals right here. This is the treble control. And so these are for one side. Let me do these 3. Nothing. Nothing. I hear a little bit something there. Try this one. Nothing. Nothing. Oh wow. Hopefully you can hear that. I hear it a little bit on this one, but it's not nearly as loud. And you know, when I was testing this, there was a we heard a little bit of sound when we turned the balance all one way, but it wasn't really the problem. The problem was on the other side. And there it is. So that pin on treble and that pin on bass, but it's not on the volume and it's not on the balance. Okay, that's telling us something interesting. So let's take a look at where these pins are on the schematic and see where that gets us. Alright, so let's take a look at where we were looking. So within the pack of schematics included some of these phantom boards that show the traces that are on the bottom of the board, and you can kind of see through phantom what's on the other side of the board, which is really cool. Alright, so the controls are located here. There's one there. I've written a 5 there because it's hard to read. It says VR5 there. But that's VR5. That's VR6. So that's the bass control, left and right. Here's the treble control. This one is number 7. And 8 is this one down here. This is the volume control. VR3 is this one. And VR4 is here, so that's the volume control. And VR2 is over here. You can see it right there, VR2. That's the balance control right there. Alright. So we were getting no noise there, or there. Right? We had no noise on the volume control. There, or these 3 points here. So those are all in the clear. On the bass control, it was clear on this channel, but on this channel, that one was noisy. Alright, so let me put a hashy looking shape on that. Okay. Yeah, it'd be better if I had a red highlighter. I don't. And then here on treble, that was okay. Okay. And then this one was noisy. Okay, so we have this one and this one are noisy. The rest of these are okay. Okay. So we're going to track down where this point is in the schematic and where this point is in the schematic. On this one here, we can say, okay, we're going to be on one of the poles of VR6 that goes over and ties to C120. Let's get that schematic and we'll see where this point is in the schematic, okay? Because that's where it's noisy. So if I go here, right, do a few things here. We know that, sorry for the shaking, we know that VR2, all of that was okay. Volume VR4, which is the volume control, that was all okay here. We know this was all okay. These are the evens. So we're focusing down here in the, sorry, these are the odds. That's the left channel. These are the evens on this circuit, which we know is the right channel. So that was clear. But we had problem on, what was it again? Let's take this one, VR6, where it goes to C120. So VR6, do you see it already? That's 8. It's 6. VR6. So here's C120. So we know we got noise right there. Okay. And it was okay there and there. Okay. Alright. So now the other one that was a problem was VR8. This post, and it goes to, what does that say? I think that says 122. Yeah, that's capacitor 122. So this leg here goes to capacitor 122. See where that is in the schematic. So variable resistor 8, here it is, and there's C122 right there. So we know that this was noisy, but that was okay, and that was okay. So we've got an area here where we got some noise. We found it, okay? So, and we know it's here too. So there must be a connect. Let's follow it. If we go from here, comes here, goes up, goes to this switch, comes up and comes down, comes here, goes to transistor 22, the base of 22, comes out of 22, comes into the base of 24, comes out of 24, goes into this transformer, and then feeds into the base of 26. So there's our path. Let's go to the left and see if we can find it, because now we know we can get from here all the way to here with the noise. Sorry, I've got that all turned. Let's see, that makes it a little easier for you guys. You can turn your head back, right? So here's where we had the noise coming out to the speakers. Here's the noise we just found on those volume on the bass and the treble control. I'm not sure which one of these is. I guess that's treble and that's bass. And we can track where that comes through and gets through all the way to TR26. So let's go back here and work our way back to the left. So let's see, from here we go up into a switch, comes back down this way, C142, and then it comes into the collector of transistor 20. Let's see what we got there. Okay, let me see if we can find transistor 20, and I'll bring you back after I find it. Okay, going back to this, we try to find transistor 20. And transistor 20 is right there. So let me find that on this board, and we'll see what we got. It should be right in here. I'll find you and zoom you in. Okay, so what I've done is I've looked in here, and the board is kind of sitting like this in there. And so I'm looking for this shape in between these two switches. And I've got this little foot looking piece, I've got a T-shaped looking piece, and then I've got this piece that kind of snakes in. And I think I've found it. And I marked it in yellow here. So there's the foot shaped piece, there's the T-shaped piece, and there's the piece that kind of snakes in. So I believe my three terminals are, let's see, I think it's here, here, and here. those right there. That'd be here, here, and here. Oops. Here, here, here. The toe of the foot, the tip of the snaky piece, and the bottom of the T. So that's the toe, the bottom of the snaky piece, and the bottom of the end of the snaky piece and the T. So these are the 3 points right there. And it looks like that's base is here, and the emitter and the collector. Alright, let's see how we sound on the signal tracer. So let's see. Bring my ground down here and turn my gain back up. Alright. So let's see. Toe. Nothing. So nothing on the toe of the foot. Let's try the long end of this long snaky thing. I hear nothing there. Let's go to the bottom of the T here. There it is. Okay, so we hear it at this T piece. I do not hear it at the end of this long snaky piece. And I don't hear it on the toe. Right, so transistor 20 has 2 silent legs and a noisy leg right there. So if I look at this, that noisy leg here appears to be the collector. That looks like the collector, right? Because I see the arrow down at the bottom. So the collector comes up to this T-shaped piece. It goes to like R110. Let me check that. So that would be here. Noisy. That's noisy there too. That's to a capacitor C140 something, 142 it looks like. Alright, so there we're getting noise. Alright, so let's take a look at our schematic here. Or let's look at this first. Alright, so get you set up here. So we were quiet here. We were quiet here. Right? But we had noise on there. Let me make a mark on that where I can do it. Okay, so we got noise here, and we also got it here. So we got it on all 3 of these pads right here. Okay, so we're looking at the collector of TR20, R110, C140, whatever that says. 142 maybe. We'll check. Let's look at the schematic. Okay, so we go to the schematic. Oops. Okay, so we go to the schematic. Here's TR20 right here. Yeah, see, there's an R110. It goes to the collector. So that's noisy, and so is C1, the connection to C142. That's noisy. The bass is quiet, or I can't hear it. And the emitter was quiet. So we got quiet, quiet, and we have noise right here. Let me mark that up. Okay, so I've marked that up for TR20. I was quiet on the emitter and the bass. I had noise in the collector that I was able to hear, that T-shaped piece that went to both C142 and R110. So let's see, since we know this is quiet here, or at least I can't hear it, either it's all getting amplified and coming from TR20 or one of these other components around here and getting, let's see, where does that go? From here, it goes to this switch, comes back out of that switch, comes over, and yet comes to this point where we had noise here and here. And then from here it goes into a switch, comes out, comes into 22, comes out and goes into 24, goes to the transformer, and then gets into 26 where the power output is. So we've got a chain of events, and we found an early point here. I didn't hear anything on this side of it, and that makes sense because we didn't have anything here on the balance either. Alright, so either TR20 is noisy or one of these other components. Let me just see if we get anything different around in here. See what we get. Let me check on both sides of 142 and on 110. Let me find them and try it. Okay, there she is. So let me get these plugged into the component tester and we'll see what we got. But I believe that's the base, and then that would be the collector, and that would be the emitter. So we'll see how that works out. Get this into the component tester and we'll find out.